The Zeppelin airship was a strategic deterrent weapon for Germany during World War I, and was one of the few equipments with long-range strike capabilities at the time. It caused significant casualties in the actual combat against London, England. However, striking London was not the ultimate goal for the Germans. They wanted to build a more powerful airship that could cross the Atlantic and bomb the United States. LZ114 was such an airship. LZ114 was a powerful airship developed for the German Navy, with the Navy designation of L-72. It was originally planned to be delivered for use in 1918, but due to higher performance requirements from the military, some modifications were made, delaying the construction progress. By the end of World War I, it was still not completed. This airship, capable of flying thousands of kilometers, had a total length of 226.52 meters, a maximum diameter of 23.9 meters, and could hold 68,490 cubic meters of hydrogen, divided into 16 gas cells. The airship appeared slender and streamlined, with stabilizing wings distributed in a cross shape at the rear. It was powered by 6 Maybach MB EVA 6-cylinder water-cooled piston engines, each with an output of 235 horsepower. Originally, the design called for 7 engines, but due to the military's request to increase the altitude ceiling, the designers increased the hydrogen capacity and abandoned one engine to reduce weight. When the airship flew at full power with 6 engines, it could reach a maximum speed of nearly 130 km per hour. During cruising, it used 4 engines and flew at a speed of about 77 km per hour. Specific data on the airship's maximum altitude and range were not available. By the end of World War I, LZ114 was not completely finished, but most of it had been completed. After Germany surrendered, there was no longer a need to continue the work on it, so it lay quietly in the factory. According to the Treaty of Versailles, it was transferred to France as part of reparations, and the transfer was completed on July 9, 1920. Because the Germans were dissatisfied with the outcome of the war and angry about the Treaty of Versailles, they only transferred the airship without giving the related documents to the French. Upon receiving the airship, the French discovered 2 important issues. First, France did not have a hangar large enough to accommodate such a large airship. They had to urgently build 2 large hangars, each 250 meters long and 40 meters wide. Second, the airship itself was in poor condition, with the gas cells needing replacement and the framework plating needing maintenance. The lack of detailed information exacerbated the difficulty of maintaining and refurbishing the airship, so the French had to first measure and document the airship. The French renamed the airship Dixmude. Although the French were quite fond of it, they never dreamed that this airship would be involved in a major air disaster, which was the largest airship accident prior to the Hindenburg disaster. The French Navy took over the Dixmude, initially selecting 40 people as crew members to familiarize themselves with and study the airship. A test flight was attempted in 1920, and the second flight was postponed until 1921. It wasn't until around 1923 that they became more proficient in operating the airship, with the year 1922 being the time when the airship's gas cells were replaced. The French flight tests revealed some of the airship's performance. One notable test was a long-distance flight that began on September 25, 1923, lasting 118 hours and covering approximately 7,100 kilometers. It is worth noting that this flight was not the airship's limit, as there was still fuel remaining on board. It seemed that the airship could potentially carry even more fuel, indicating its ability to bomb the Americas by crossing the Atlantic. Unfortunately, the Dixmude was involved in an accident during a flight in December 1923. The airship departed on the 18th and, upon receiving a weather forecast of severe weather on the 20th, retracted its radio equipment and lost contact with the outside world. Workers in Sicily saw a massive fire in the sky at 2:30 on the 20th and found some wreckage the next day. It was undoubtedly damaged during the night, and all 50 people on board died. It is speculated that the airship was struck by lightning, causing a leak of hydrogen that ignited and led to a fire and explosion.